The story begins with a flying bomb-raining plane. The pilot's eyes are closed during the flight, but when he wakes up, he is filled with fear. He realizes that his plane has gone too far from its destination and has come right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Even more terrifying was that the plane was about to run out of fuel. The captain immediately takes out the navigation equipment and checks his location. He sweats knowing the truth, but he cannot gather the courage to tell this bad news to his two companions. To stop an accident, the captain immediately tries to contact the air traffic control on the radio. But as soon as the radio is connected, he hears the voices of the Japanese soldiers. He turns off the radio immediately and starts using Morse code. To reduce the weight of the plane and save fuel, the captain drops all the bombs in the ocean in one blow and turns the plane to find the signal, but no answer comes from the tower. Finally, when the fuel is running out, the captain tells the truth to his companions and asks them to prepare for an emergency crash landing in the Pacific Ocean. As soon as the plane collides with the water of the ocean, the plane's body bursts due to a strong shock and water starts filling inside quickly. In a few minutes, the plane was about to sink into the depths of the sea. The captain somehow gets out of the cockpit and calls out to his companions by blowing a life raft. But when he turns back, he sees that his two companions are sinking in the water with the plane. Fortunately, in the last second, both the companions succeed in opening their seat belts and come to the water safely. But in this chaos, all the food and essential items of their life sink into the sea with the plane. When both the companions swim to the ship, they see that the captain has opened the ship upside down in a hurry. The three of them straighten the ship with their remaining strength and climb on it. This life raft was so small that there was no place to lie down. They have to squat and sit together. It is night, and the temperature of the sea starts to drop rapidly. Due to the wet clothes, the three men start to tremble badly from the cold. To escape the cold, they tighten their own hands. Despite such a terrible incident, the young companions Will and Max sleep well all night. The next morning they get up and play games and remain completely optimistic that some or the other plane will come to save them. On the other hand, the captain stayed awake all night so that no surviving plane could escape his eyes. He decides that the three of them will keep an eye on the sky in 360 degrees. It is afternoon. Suddenly Max sees a small black dot in the sky. When he comes close, he finds out that it is a plane of his own army. Everyone jumps with joy, but the experienced captain's worry increases. He thinks that the speed of the plane is only 200 kilometers per hour, but the speed of the plane is only 150 kilometers per hour, which means that its fuel is also less and it is returning to its base. The plane was only half a kilometer away. The three of them wave their clothes in the air and scream like crazy. But the captain's fear proves to be true. The plane leaves without seeing them. All the hopes inside them break. Now the biggest question was how to survive in the ocean of food and water. The captain calms down and counts the remaining things he has, including a pistol, a knife and a 25-foot-long nylon rope. But there was nothing to eat or drink. And unfortunately, this rescue was an old ship built in 1937. It was a hungry, thirsty night. In the middle of the ocean, the ship was floating like a small leaf. When the thirst is out of control, the captain takes off his shoes and collects his own urine and drinks it. He calls it his own beer. Mac is filled with disgust by seeing this sight. No rescue team comes until the next morning, and they did not know where they had floated. The captain guesses from his experience that Samoa is 1,000 miles from here, South America is 6,000 miles away, and Hawaii is 1,900 miles away. Phoenix was closest to everyone. But there was a Japanese army's occupation. 600 miles away from Samoa was a friend of Dweeb, but it was impossible to reach there without the wind and navigation equipment. Will uses his brain to satisfy his hunger. He opens the magazine of the pistol and pulls out the spring from it. He pulls the spring and makes a thorn. He ties it with a thread and uses the sirota as a weight and the red cloth as a bait. Mac, with hope, throws this desi thorn into the sea. In a little while, the thorn is shaken. Mac pulls it with full force, but suddenly everything becomes light. A big fish of the sea was so hungry and strong that it broke their hook and ran away. It is afternoon, and the sun's shining rays start to stick in their eyes. To avoid the sun, All three put clothes on their heads so that the water of the body does not evaporate. They were hungry and thirsty for 2 days and 2 nights. The setting sun was looking very beautiful, but there was no value of this beauty for them. On the 3rd day, their skin turns red from the sun and blisters start to fall on the body. Despite this, they could not even catch a small fish. On the 5th day, the limit of their body's endurance is over. They were alive with their last breath. Will could not bear this thirst, and he starts drinking the salty water of the sea without. The captain immediately stops him and tells him that by drinking salty water he will die more quickly. When he thinks that they will die suffocating in the peaceful ocean, the captain suddenly screams loudly. Will and Mac are scared that the captain may have a heart attack. But the next moment, the captain pulls out a small pencil from his pocket. One pencil was no less than magic for them because it could help calculate the direction. The captain immediately draws lines of the equator and the international on the rubble of the rescue ship and shows the islands in a circular circle. Based on the direction of the wind and his experience, he calculates that if they keep flowing southwestward, they can reach the land of the friends of the country. Knowing this, a smile returns on the captain makes a sea anchor using the rope and life jacket of the ship. This could have stopped the ship from flowing in the wrong direction. He had an idea that if everything was right, they would reach the land in 10 days. The captain guards for 24 hours so that the ship does not deviate from its course. That same evening, it suddenly starts to rain heavily. In the last 5 days, this was the first drop of sweet water for them. They open their mouths to the sky like crazy and drink rainwater and collect water in everything in the ship. Water gives them a little life, but they could not live long. Mac pulls out his small knife and attacks the water of the sea so that maybe a fish gets his hand. Suddenly he feels a strong pull from under the water. Mac pulls him up with all his strength and throws him into the ship. He was a small shark. The three of them used their full strength to kill the shark. In a little while, they were eating raw shark meat. The taste was strange, but at least they were not going to die of hunger. After filling their stomachs, they throw the remaining shark blood and garbage into the sea. But they did not realize that this small mistake of theirs would become the enemy of their life. As soon as the smell of blood fades, a large flock of sharkfish starts to wander around their small ship. Seeing this scary sight, the three of them are lost. They sit quietly without moving. In the silence of the night, the sea is a little quiet. Mac thinks that the danger has been averted and puts his hand down to wash his escaped sleep. The next moment, a shark attacks him. It was a blessing that Mac immediately pulls his hand and he gets a minor injury. The captain immediately ties a bandage on his hand. She spends the whole night in the shadow of fear without blinking. Days go by. Sharkfish visit their ship every day and their food was also over. Due to the lack of rain for a long time, Mac becomes delusional and he starts to see the ground between the sea. By the 15th day, his hope is completely broken. Will tries to shoot himself with a gun, but Mac, showing his speed, snatches the gun from him and the next moment he sleeps with the gun and taunts the captain's head. The bullet is fired and a sea bird named Albatross, hovering just above the captain, falls into the water. The captain wakes up with the sound of the bullet, and without thinking, jumps into the sea to pick up the dead bird. As soon as he catches the bird, a big shark rushes towards him. The captain swims towards the ship with full strength. Meanwhile, the gun gets jammed. Mac and Will, like crazy people, pull the ship towards the captain with a knife. In the last second, the captain succeeds in climbing on the ship, and the shark escapes just below his feet. They played with their lives and caught the bird, but it was so small that it was finished in a snap. Their hunger was just a taste. 20 days had passed. They had dried up and become a bone mass. Their condition had become like living corpses, but the intense desire to live was still not letting them give up. They understand that nothing will happen by sitting in the air. The captain cuts his shoes with a knife and pushes the soles of the shoes with a stick. They swear that as long as there is life in the body, they will keep sailing. They keep sailing for about 30 days like this. They did not have the strength to stand up. That's when their fate makes another cruel joke. The clear sky suddenly falls from the dark thick clouds. The lightning starts to crack and a terrible storm comes with a heavy rain. Several meters high waves of the sea break into a storm on their small ship, and finally the ship turns. All three fall into the dangerous waters of the sea, but somehow they help each other and straighten the ship again and climb it. After the storm has passed, the sea becomes so calm that fear begins to appear. Their body and mind had crossed their last limit. They start seeing strange things again. They accept defeat and wait to die. But then the captain gathers his courage and inspires them for the last time. With his words, the rest of their lives are awakened, and they start sailing again with their last strength. They did not know how long they had been sailing. Then suddenly Will's eyes fall on the shore. He closes his sleepy eyes and carefully looks at the sea. He sees something in the fog. It is nothing but what he saw, and there was not a deception of a delusion or water. It was a twilight. Seeing this sight, the dry and lifeless faces of the three. There was no place for the happiness of these three people standing on the verge of death. After so many days of fearful torments, pain and tears, a powerful and peaceful laugh broke from their dry lips. This laugh was the announcement that their 34-day struggle, the courage to fight death with hunger and thirst, and the determination to never give up had finally won. Without a moment of sorrow, they picked up the slipper made of their shoes, and even the last drop of their body's energy shook it to run. They started sailing towards that island like crazy. At this time, no wave, storm, or shark of the peaceful ocean could have shaken their spirit of survival. Their goal was now right in front of their eyes. They came out of the water, struggling, and fell to the ground. After being crushed by the waves of the sea for weeks, it was like their hands and feet. When they looked up, breathing in peace, their eyes were filled with tears of joy. At a distance from the shore, they saw 2 huts made of grass. The hut meant clean. Humans lived there, and now they are completely safe. They no longer had the strength to stand on their weak and trembling feet. But they never left each other's side, and they were not going to leave them now. Will, Mac, and Captain hugged each other, took strong support from each other's shoulders, and with trembling feet, they took a new hope of life and moved towards those huts.